meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Star Ledger, local source, and is posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and on the municipal website. Accordingly, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied in regard to this meeting. Please stand for the salute to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I have 3 proclamations this evening. Oh, I'm sorry, roll call. I have to do roll call.
Mayor Karlovich.
Here.
Councilman Boyle.
Here.
Councilwoman Giordano Paserno. Here. Councilman Morrow.
Here.
Councilman Piper.
Here.
Councilman Scarice.
Here.
Councilman Finestrello is excused. You have quorum.
Okay, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a truly historical milestone. This Friday, our nation celebrates 250 years since signing the Declaration of Independence. It's a time to reflect on the freedoms we enjoy, honor those who served, and sacrificed to protect them. And remember that each generation has a role in shaping America's future. On behalf of the Borough Council, it is my privilege to present this proclamation commemorating the 250th anniversary of the United States. On July 4, 2026, the United States of America celebrates the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, marking 2.5 centuries of freedom, self-government opportunity, and enduring belief that ordinary citizens can shape the future of their communities and their nation. Over the past 250 years, generations of Americans have built, defended, and strengthened this country through service, sacrifice, innovation, hard work, and an unwavering commitment to the ideals upon which our nation was founded. Those ideals are not preserved by history alone. They endure through the actions of citizens who participate in their communities, lend a helping hand to a neighbor, engage in civic life, and work together to build a better future for the generations that follow. Here in Kenilworth, we are proud to be part of that American story. Our borough has been shaped by generations of residents who believed in community, valued public service, and understood that progress is achieved when people care deeply about the place they call home. As we celebrate America's 250th anniversary, we honor those who came before us, give thanks for the freedoms we enjoy today, and renew our commitments to the principles of liberty, democracy, service, and civic responsibility that continue to unite us as Americans. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Linda Karlovich, together with the Borough Council of the Borough of Kenilworth, do hereby proclaim July 4, 2026 as a day of celebration in recognition of the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. The Mayor and Council encourage all residents to join in commemorating this historic milestone, to reflect upon our shared heritage, to honor those who served our nation, and to celebrate the freedoms and opportunities that have defined the American experience for 250 years. As we celebrate this extraordinary milestone, let us remember that we are not merely beneficiaries of 250 years of American history, we are the authors of its next chapter. May we preserve the blessings of liberty, strengthen the bonds of community, and remain faithful stewards to the enduring promise of America. Also, I'd like to make a note that the library has prepared its own commemorative proclamation for their 90th year anniversary. Copies are available on the back table for anyone who would like one. Tonight, however, it is my privilege to read this proclamation on behalf of the Mayor and Borough Council, recognized as the Kenilworth Public Library's 90th anniversary and celebrating its lasting contributions to our community. For 90 years, the Kenilworth Public Library has been a place where knowledge, opportunity, and community come together, enriching the lives of generations of residents established in early years of our borough, and first opened to the public in a classroom at McKinley School. The library grew through the generosity, vision, and determination of community leaders and residents who believe that access to learning should be available to all. In 1936, during the height of the Great Depression, the library found its permanent home on the boulevard through a combination of local support and works progress administration assistance, creating a lasting landmark for our community, and for 9 decades, the library has continued to evolve while remaining true to its mission of fostering literacy, lifelong learning, civic engagement, and cultural enrichment, serving as a welcoming gathering place for residents of all ages and backgrounds. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Linda Karlovich, Mayor of the Borough Council, together with the Borough Council, do hereby recognize and celebrate the 90th anniversary of the Kenilworth Public Library, and extend our sincere congratulations and appreciation to the Board of Trustees, library directors, staff, volunteers, supporters, and all those whose dedication has contributed to the library's success throughout its proud history. Be it further proclaimed that the Mayor and Council express their gratitude for 90 years of service to the residents of Kenilworth and look forward to the continued impact of the Kenilworth Public Library for generations to come. And I have one more, honoring 44 years of service to the Kenilworth Public Library Board, Sally Shear. Early this year, the Kenilworth Public Library Board of Trustees honored Sally for her extraordinary 44 years of dedicated service to the library. A copy of the board's proclamation is available on the back table for this evening. We felt it equally important for the borough to recognize Sally's remarkable commitment to public service and the lasting impact she has had on our community. For 44 years, Sally has exemplified the very best of public service through her unwavering dedication to the Kenilworth Public Library and to the residents of the borough of Kenilworth, serving as a trustee since 1982 and in numerous leadership roles, including president, secretary, and vice president of the library board. She helped guide the library through decades of growth and change, championed its expansion and modernization, advocated for literacy and lifelong learning, and ensured that generations of residents would benefit from a welcoming and vibrant community resource. And through her leadership, integrity, wisdom, and steadfast commitment, she has left an enduring legacy that will continue to strengthen the library and enrich the borough for years to come. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Linda Karlovich, Mayor of the Borough of Kenilworth, together with the Borough Council, do hereby recognize and honor Sally Shear for her 44 years of distinguished service and extended our sincere gratitude and appreciation for her extraordinary contributions to the Kenilworth Public Library and the community she has so faithfully served. Be it further proclaimed that the Mayor and Council congratulate Sally on this remarkable milestone and wish her continued health, happiness, and success in the years ahead. Is there anyone here from the library? No? Okay. All right. I just wanted, before we move on to the other reports, I just wanted to share a few thoughts. There's a resolution for the council this evening, 26-172. This agreement is for the future renovation of the existing Nest Building 15, which is owned by Onyx Equities, for office and research facilities. This agreement allows for subdivision on the Onyx property to create new separate lots for Nest office, buildings 1, 5, and 6, and that can be sold to a new owner. The Nest buildings have been vacant since Merck left the facility, and finding new tenants and owners to occupy the campus will create jobs, bring businesses to town, and help stabilize the taxes of the Onyx-owned portion of the campus for the benefit of the Kenilworth residents. As with every project we undertake, my priority is protecting the best interests of our community. That's why we, as your council, will evaluate the facts, consult with experts, and ensure every decision is guided by what's best for our residents of Kenilworth. And I'd also like to give a shout out to my daughter, because today, Angelina, is her 20th birthday. So happy birthday, Angelina. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to move on to the finance report. Councilman Morrow.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Really only one thing of note tonight, that we have the second reading, final reading of the capital budget. Any questions, happy to take them. Other than that, nothing else, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Department of Public Works, Councilman Boyle.
I have no report. We know Greg's been out with his wife's surgery, so.
Okay, Department of Public Safety, Councilman Finestrose excused. Councilman Morrow has his report.
Yes, thanks again, Mayor. Okay, I have Chief Campanelli's report. For the month of June, the Kenilworth Police Department responded to 1,459 calls for service, 225 911 calls, and there were 210 and a half hours of overtime for the month. The breakdown is as follows: 100 for patrol overtime, 48 hours for dispatch overtime, 4 hours for DB call-in, 24 hours for SWAT call-out, 2 hours for municipal court, 8 hours for the Arrive program, 24 and a half hours for special detail. KPD completed 300 hours of training for the month, issued 167 summonses, and made 5 arrests. There were 3 sick days used in the month and 1 sick occurrence. There were 0 on-the-job injury days. Kenilworth Police Department received 92 flock hot list alerts from the stationary cameras throughout the borough. That's it for the general report, and I also have a message from the chief. The Kenilworth Police Department assisted with security for the borough fireworks on June 28th at David Brearley High School and Middle School. No issues to report. Kenilworth Police Department is hosting its Junior Police Academy from June 29th to July 3rd. This is an opportunity for the Kenilworth youth to see what it's like to train as a police officer. There will be physical training, drill and ceremony, EVOC training, along with other police-related disciplines. This program is led by the Kenilworth Detective Bureau, which coordinates everything from application registration to activities and field trips. Multiple patrol officers also assist with training and activities, and we are looking forward to another successful academy class. The 6-month grace period for the New Jersey e-bike laws end on July 19th, 2026. E-bike laws will be strictly enforced statewide. Please look online for the updated laws regarding licensing, insurance, and registration. Specific e-bikes will need to be registered and insured and operated by a licensed operator. Please notify the Kenilworth Police Department to report a complaint or a nuisance. We can't help if we don't know about it. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Planning and Zoning, Councilman Scarice.
Thank you, Mayor. Total building fees for the month of June, $38,909. Breaks down building fees, $22,566. Trust state fees, $851. Miscellaneous, $4,075. Trailer storage, road opening fees, $4,500. Foreclosure, vacant lots, $500, and developers fees, $6,417. We have 40 construction applications processed, 29 permits issued, 23 zoning permit applications processed for gazebos, fences, additions, pools. As far as code enforcement, 4 property maintenance received, most likely it was grass height. 4 notices of violation issued in June for the following inspections. 1 notice of violation issued for Airbnb after noise complaint received from the police department. 9 road opening applications processed for the month of June. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilman. Recreation and Fire, Councilman Piper.
Thank you, Mayor, but I have no report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Health, Education, and Welfare, Councilwoman Giordano Paserno.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a brief report for the library on the heels of the proclamation. They are planning a celebration at the library on July 15th between 11 and 1 o'clock. So everybody in the borough is welcome to come and celebrate all of the folks that work there, of course, especially all of the volunteers. And Sally, I got to know her being on the board of the library, and she was a dedicated volunteer to be there every month and follow through with supporting the library and all of its programs. But anybody that could make it on July 15th, 11 to 1, they should. And this Tuesday, there's a special program, Dino Academy. Puppets will be there. It's between 7 and 8, ages 4 and up. registration is required. But I want to tell everybody, school is out, summer's on, there's a lot of stuff going on at the library, so take advantage, see what they have going on. And that's all I have. I don't have anything in particular for the other three departments.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Borough CFO. Oh, sorry, Ken.
Thank you, Mayor. Just as Finance Chairman Morrow mentioned, we have the capital budget on for tonight. It's $2.9 million, and we secured almost $500,000 in grants for that. So
Great.
that's all I have.
Awesome. Borough Attorney.
Mayor, I have nothing for public consumption. I know that we have an executive session this evening. That's going to consist of some attorney-client communication. And I would just like, before we adjourn into closed session, for you to notice that official action may be taken following executive session.
Okay, thank you. Borough Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have an update on the health benefits transition. We're 1 month in today. There were a few little hiccups, but we were able to address them almost immediately. There might have been one that we were able to address the second day. Otherwise, everything else went pretty smoothly. We have 2 county grant opportunities coming up that I will be working with the superintendent on one of them for the Green Union County, that's for the trees. We also have the Kids Recreational Trust that's going to be coming up. Those are both going to be due in August. I have started working on those. We do have the New Jersey Department of Transportation, year 2027 roadway improvements for municipal aid. We're going to start working on that as well. There is a resolution on this evening authorizing the submittal of that grant. And let's see, and I am investigating a federal grant that may help out, provide funding for our police department, but I'm looking into the feasibility of that. I need to work a little bit more, I think, with the Finance Committee and my Recreation Committee in regards to finalizing the scope change for the one Kids Rec grant, because it was supposed to go towards turf, but that ended up, we have to pivot now. So I just need to fine tune that so I can get that in. And otherwise, that's all I have now.
Thank you. Okay, Resolution 26-160 promotes Sergeant Sean Caverick to the rank of Lieutenant with the Kenilworth Police Department, effective July 2nd. Congratulations to Sean Caverick on this well-earned achievement. May I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Scarice and seconded by Councilman Morrow. Roll call?
Councilman Boyle? Yes. Councilwoman Giordano Paserno?
No.
Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Piper?
Yes.
Councilman Scarice?
Yes.
Councilman Finisterello is excused. Motion passes. Next for council consideration is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to, sorry, Mayor?
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Piper, seconded by Councilwoman Giordano Paserno. Roll call?
Councilman Boyle? Yes. Councilwoman Giordano Paserno?
Yes.
Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Piper?
Yes.
Councilman Scarice?
Yes.
Councilman Finisterello is excused. The consent agenda consists of resolutions 26-161 through 26-173. Has been approved by one motion. All items will be reported individually in full in the minutes. Next up for public hearing and adoption is ordinance 2026-13, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery, new information technology equipment, new communication and signal systems equipment, new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment, in by for the Borough of Kenilworth and the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2,976,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate various grants to make a down payment or partially fund an appropriation from the capital improvement fund to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Okay, this ordinance authorizes Kenilworth to fund a variety of public improvements and equipment purchases using grants, capital funds, and municipal bonds. Is there a motion to open the floor for discussion on this ordinance only?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Morrow, seconded by Councilwoman Giordano Paserno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Does anyone have anything to say on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Please come forward.
Which ordinance?
Ordinance, it's a bond ordinance, 2026-13.
Okay. I have a question about the previous things.
Well, this is for this ordinance only,
Okay. Good to know.
okay? Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the floor for public discussion on this ordinance only?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Boyle, seconded by Councilman Piper. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2026-13 for adoption?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Scarice, seconded by Councilman Piper. Roll call?
Councilman Boyle?
Yes.
Councilman Giordano Paserno?
Yes.
Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Piper?
Yes.
Councilman Scarice?
Yes.
Councilman Fitzgerald is excused, motion passes.
Okay, at this time, the governing body will entertain a motion to enter executive session as permitted under the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-1, to discuss matters affecting pending or anticipated litigation to which the public body may be party, matters with the attorney-client privilege. These matters are exempt from public discussion. In order to protect confidentiality, the governing body will return to open session upon completion. May I have a motion?
Mayor, may I just add
Yep.
one more thing there?
Yep.
Contract negotiation with respect to the municipality's surplus properties. Yeah,
Okay. May I have a motion to enter executive session?
Motion.
Motion. Motion made by Councilman Morrow, seconded by Councilman Scarice. Is everybody here?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, before we open up the meeting to the public, I'm going to ask the Borough Attorney, who's going to go over the rules for the public comment portion this evening to ensure that each resident's voice gets heard in a respectful manner.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, there were two things that I wanted to discuss briefly before I actually go into the issues of decorum. The first is, and I think everyone realizes I wasn't at the last meeting, but I did see it. I saw certain questions, and I just wanted to address two issues before the public session starts. First and foremost, with respect to notice going to Cranford, ordinances of which the redevelopment plan is considered one, they are notified. So the redevelopment plan, which effectively provided the zoning for the property in question, had listed as one of the permitted uses that of a data center. For that, they were provided notice. However, the site plan application, that notice goes out based upon the 200-foot distance from the property. And I understand that Cranford isn't within that 200-foot zone, so they did not, in fact, get that notice for the particular hearing. But they did get a notice for the ordinance, and both the ordinance as well as the planning board hearings are subject to public notice, publication in the newspapers as well. So all notice requirements required by law were duly honored with respect to all steps. I just wanted to clarify the record in that regard. Also, I know that there were some questions about a so-called non-disclosure agreement, and that there was some release of information relative to the same. That non-disclosure agreement had nothing to do with the CoreWeave project itself, the uses of the property, any information regarding how the property would be utilized, or their land use application. That non-disclosure agreement was nothing more than a confidentiality order that many litigation matters are subject to. And that confidentiality order is exchanged between litigants when they're sharing confidential information that is not to be shared with the public at large. Because,
Ridiculous.
no, it's not ridiculous.
God.
Mayor,
Call to order. I'm going to call the meeting to order. If this continues, we're going to take a recess. Okay, we're taking a 5-minute recess. Let's go.
over issues of decorum before I continue with what I started with. The mayor is the presiding officer. She has the right to call the meeting to order. People are not to disrupt the meeting. They're not to interrupt people from speaking. They're not to yell, scream, use a gavel or noisemakers here. When you are recognized by the presiding officer to speak during the open session, you'll be allotted 3 minutes to speak. During that time period, you can say what you like. During the public session, there will not be dialogue between the public person that's speaking and any municipal official unless the presiding officer, who is the mayor, opts to allow that to happen, in which case she will make a direction. If the meeting falls out of order, as you have just witnessed, she will call a recess in order to allow it to fall back into order. Ultimately, if the meeting is repeatedly out of order, she has the ability to call and recess the meeting, adjourn it completely. Now, with that being said, I wanted to continue to discuss and educate the public about what this non-disclosure was. This non-disclosure wasn't even between CoreWeave. The non-disclosure was with the predecessor in title of the property, the Onyx Group, and it was related to a tax appeal, and it included the sharing of confidential financial information that is not in the public domain that's utilized by our tax appeal attorney in order to negotiate, exchange discovery with the opposing party, and represent this borough as best he can in order to achieve the best tax appeal result possible. It's very common. These non-disclosure agreements are truly confidentiality agreements and are routine in all types of different litigation matters. No elected official up here was even aware of that confidentiality order, nor would they ordinarily not be. They wouldn't be told about it. That's information that's just with and between the litigation attorneys. So there was no misrepresentation that by anybody up here that they didn't know about the confidentiality or that they signed it. They did not sign it. In fact, point of fact, since I'm not the tax appeal attorney, I wasn't even aware of the confidentiality order. Notwithstanding the same, you now know how to deal with sharing information related to tax appeal litigation and nothing else. So with that being said, I wanted to clarify the issue of notice. I wanted to clarify this confidentiality agreement, which incidentally, by the way, was the subject of a consent order by a court. And I also wanted to alert everybody of the rules of decorum so that this meeting can preside in an orderly fashion so that you all could be provided an opportunity to be heard about what you want to say during your 3-minute allotment and not to disrupt the meeting so that could occur. With that, Mayor, I turn the meeting over to you.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like to respectfully ask, before we open the meeting up to the public, if the public would allow, if anyone had any comments other than CoreWeave, to allow them to come up first. Okay, at this time, I'd like a motion to open the floor to the public.
Motion?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Morrow, seconded by Councilwoman Giordano Paserno. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi, hello. So, this is about resolution number 26-172. That's the redevelopment agreement with the Kettleworth hold on, I have a couple of different ways that this is referenced in the redevelopment agreement. Kenilworth Corporate Urban Renewal LLC. Did that just pass? The agreement? Yes, okay. It just passed with no public comment on it. Correct, you passed it without public comment?
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution. Okay, when was the ordinance? What meeting was the ordinance for this redevelopment agreement?
Look that up. I don't even know. I'm not sure.
Mayor, if you don't direct dialogue, you can address questions at the end of the public
Okay.
session. It's up to you.
Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll take note.
So that could be answered at the end? Mark, Samara?
I just
Yes.
explained, yes, again.
Okay. Okay, so sort of the rules that we're going by today is either only the mayor answers or nobody answers. Is that correct? Based on what you were teaching us earlier, just to make sure I understood.
The rules were clear.
Just redefine who answers questions for me here, or like, say it again, for my edification, if you would.
I answer the questions if I
If
will
you're
get
able.
back to you.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Great. So, we
Not
don't
gonna
know
be a
what...
dialogue back and forth, just so
Right,
you know.
I gotcha. I do actually think that's good for the flow, for everybody to be able to get their points out, but what you're telling me is you don't know the ordinance of when this came to public to be able to be talked about, this redevelopment agreement.
2024-15. It wasn't that I didn't know, I didn't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
Right.
I understand. So is there no room for negotiation with the public, what the public cares about in mind for this redevelopment agreement? Because I have a long list, most of which is, there are some errors in dates, times, and how the designated redeveloper is referenced in this redevelopment agreement, even after it was reposted at 2:47 today. I also have concerns about the fact that the agreement was posted just today.
Thank you for your...
With no time to be able to review it.
Thank you for your comment.
Mayor, if I may, the 247 update was just on the Exhibit B. In regards to the update today at 247, that was just a correction on the acreage for Exhibit B.
Right, there's still errors inside the redevelopment agreement, including at the very top says blank, on this date of blank 2025. And the redevelopment.
Okay, we don't have the floor anymore. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Go ahead.
Good evening. You can start the clock.
Good evening.
You can start the clock. Thank you. I'd like to offer a clarification for the public. The NDA that the attorney there is referencing is dated January of 2026, this year. We have reason to believe that there's at least one other NDA that predates that one, which we have requested public records for. So I just want to clarify that for the public. Residents were repeatedly told about the conversion of an existing building related to this CoreWeave data center project. However, borough records show officials knew much more. In July of 2025, borough officials were informed that CoreWeave had purchased property to develop 2 additional data centers. In October of 2025, borough officials received the Nest campus map, as you can see in the big sign back there, showing the addition of 2 additional data centers and a future substation on the currently vacant land on the property. During the April 1st, 2026 closed session involving this council, they confirmed that CoreWeave is advancing a 2-phase project with the Nest 11 building, the current phase of the project, occurring now, and further development constituting Phase 2.
On April 10th, 2026, hearing notices for subdivision applications were sent to the property owners within 200 feet of the site. Very few, if any, of those recipients were Kenilworth residents, and yet this council has the gall to question why there are not more Kenilworth residents here. Importantly, the notice did not merely discuss a subdivision. It specifically stated that Quarry intended to, quote, improve these lots with data centers. So the existence of future data centers was disclosed in official notice sent to a small group of nearby property owners representing less than 1% of Union residents and nearly 0% of Kenilworth residents. Yet when the public appeared at the April 28th Planning Board meeting and asked about these future data centers and the purpose of the subdivisions, the board repeatedly stated that the hearing was only about the subdivisions and not about future development. This simply cannot be reconciled with the public notice itself, which specifically referenced improving the lots with data centers. At the May 6th council meeting, Councilman Morrow distinguished the Kenilworth project from controversial data center projects elsewhere by emphasizing that this project involved existing infrastructure and the reuse of an existing building. What was not mentioned was that the borough records already reflected plans for additional future data centers on the vacant land to be constructed from the ground up, and the associated infrastructure needed to support those. Residents were not given the complete picture. Tonight's agenda includes a redevelopment agreement with Onyx. Meanwhile, the redevelopment agreement deadlines associated with CoreWeave as a designated redeveloper expired months ago. The borough has publicly acknowledged that no redevelopment agreement currently exists for CoreWeave, yet construction activities, subdivision approvals, pilot discussions, and project advancement have continued. And instead of addressing our concerns, you've instead decided to solicit PR firms.
Thank you for your comments.
How can you hold CoreWeave accountable as you claim after the fact if you can't even get a redevelopment agreement with them?
I'd like to call the meeting to order again, please. Clapping, yes, no. It's not.
No, you're allowed to clap. Hello. Hi. Attorney, thank you for some clarification on the Cranford. So as I understand, the ordinance, which ordinance was Cranford notified of?
The redevelopment plan. They were notified of the redevelopment plan.
Okay. And do you know, was that an ordinance that was passed?
It was not an ordinance, it was it was done by ordinance, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And that was, do you know what the name of the ordinance was offhand? Like it was a redevelopment plan for what? For the whole site or?
I think that was the number you gave before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Could you tell me the date of that ordinance and when Cranford would have been notified around? Would you pause my time?
Yeah, the ordinance. 2024-15.
2024-15.
I just looked it up myself. Yep.
Oh, it's the same one. Still the same one.
Okay. All right, so I assume that was in 2024?
2024, correct. Yep.
So Cranford was notified of that ordinance?
Of the redevelopment plan and the ordinance, yes.
Were the other neighboring towns also notified of that? Mm-hmm. And could you tell us what towns exactly were notified in that?
See if it's in my email. I don't have the exact, I just have the surrounding towns were notified.
Basically surrounding?
I'd have to speak to our planning board secretary.
Thank you. And what was Michael Ash, what was his role in passing, or was he at that time the redevelopment attorney for Kenilworth in that redevelopment plan?
You know what?
Tax appeal council.
Yes.
He worked as tax counsel on the deal?
Tax appeal council for the town.
What was his involvement in the redevelopment plan?
He didn't have redevelopment plan. It was tax appeal council.
He was aware of it? I assume. Was he? Was he aware of it, the plan?
I would imagine so.
Okay. And did Cranford notify Kenilworth
that they rezoned the Commerce Park section of Cranford to allow data centers in August of 2025. Were you all notified by Cranford?
I'm not sure, I'd have to look it up in the email.
Were you aware that 2 months after, I think, the passing of the plan here, Cranford then also passed a plan to allow data centers?
I'm not aware.
And my final question, if you give me a little more time, just because of the pause, like 20 seconds,
Got
please.
3 minutes.
Okay. I think our process...
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. No, sorry.
The problem here is that our process...
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking everyone to please maintain order so we continue the meeting. That means, Mr. Thilly, that your time is up. Thank you for your
You
comment.
held me for 30 seconds.
I will not give you the 30 seconds.
Our
I
process of
apologize.
having elected representatives is
I'm
not...
calling the meeting to order.
Miss, this behavior is
Can we
not...
have a,
This is not decorum.
recess?
This is not decorum for an official. I promise you...
Motion to take a recess.
If you'll give me 20 seconds.
Taking a recess. Still, okay, like, come on. Yeah. Call the meeting back to order. Okay. Anyone else from the public wish to speak?
Good evening. So before anybody gets rowdy, okay? They got the power, all right? So like the lady over there said, they got the power, okay? First, I want to thank the first responders. Okay. Next, moving on to business. So Mayor, I know Mark I'm not going to botch, Semeraro.
You got it.
Said something about the clock. The last meeting, you removed the clock, okay? I thought that was staying the way it was, and the reason I say that, okay, people have stuff in their mind, okay? Some have little, some have more to say. So I would appreciate it if you could possibly remove the clock. Nobody wants to stay here till 10, 11 o'clock at night. We all have lives. But I would appreciate it if you take that clock down once again. That's all I have. Thank you. I yield my time to this gentleman. So you got 5 minutes.
No, I don't need 5 minutes, only a minute. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Bob Herbert, 14 North 12th Street. I know you got to announce it. And I'm not here for CoreWeave. I'm here for our town. I've been walking lately a lot, and the boulevard was repaved, and a lot of the intersections are flooding. Can we have our engineer look into that?
Sure. And
get it addressed before the winter, because it's going to be icing, particularly around the corner of 12th Street and the boulevard. They covered a manhole cover about maybe 12 to 15 feet in from the stop sign. And then on the corner of 14th Street and the boulevard, there's a tree that the branch is hanging down about 5.5 feet. So the crossing guard, the kids, myself, I'm not very tall, you have to duck. It blocks the cars from making a right-hand turn you can't see. So if you can have the county or somebody address that tree, trim it at a minimum of 7 feet above grade, which is a normal ordinance, it would be appreciated. And that's all I have to say. It was about our town. Mayor, I know you asked in the beginning, but I didn't, by the time I took a step, we were into CoreWeave. So I apologize doing this later.
Thank you.
You for your time. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie from Bordentown. Last time I was here, I was crying, I was yelling, it was very stressful. Really quick, do I have free time?
You have 3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes, okay. I was very sad by the way I came off because I'm genuinely a happy, good person who wants good for you and your families, every single one of you, I promise. That's the only thing I'm here for, is betterment for all of us, okay? And I thought maybe the threat of a police report might be enough for you guys to stop lying and manipulating fact, but here you still are doing just that. And you continue to mock us too, which is just really unprofessional. This is a life and death situation. This is a multi-tiered crisis. You deserve to be yelled at. You deserve to have any repercussions that come your way because this will hurt every single one of you and us and nature alike. please raise your hand in this room if you prioritize the safety, health, and well-being of your community. Yes, you all raised your hand, but we think you're lying. I noticed you didn't raise your hand. That's good to know. We, the people, per extensive scientific research and exceptional court of law evidence, are demanding that you immediately halt this project and all operations henceforward. We need unbiased expert review. Here are some things we need you to do right away, immediately. Challenge the permits. Revoke approvals for reason of misrepresentation. They're manipulating you just like you're trying to manipulate us here, okay? Press for a nuisance abatement. As per your own law, offensive businesses which create a public nuisance are considered unlawful. I mean, even these meetings are becoming a nuisance at this point. Number 4, conditional use review. Number 5, submit ordinance variances, which have already been requested a ridiculous amount of times, including a temporary memorandum ordinance to get the ball rolling for the community here. Again, just providing you with so many options of ways you guys can still stop this. And finally, most importantly, we demand, every single person in here and everyone around us is demanding that we set up a township ballot question referendum to stop this project and any future ones. All right, you can set that up. You totally can, regardless of whatever any contract says, right? That's exactly what I said the last time, and it still stands. I don't really can't understand why we're still here. It's terrible. Everything I've listed gives you a direct course of action to save Kenilworth. You can save Kenilworth. You can be our heroes. We want to believe you're good people who are going to do your jobs and uphold your oath. That's what you were elected to do, not to harm us, not to sell us out. I can't emphasize enough how much we want this to end so we can all just go back to enjoying our lives. It's 4th of July weekend, you guys, and we're here trying to tell you to not poison us. Like, this is ridiculous. Please, will any of you do any of the steps I listed? There are 8 possible solutions. Will any of you be taking action to do those solutions for us? Are you going to set up a vote?
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Thank you.
You will all be held for your corruption. If not today by me, then someone eventually. You'll have to answer for yourselves.
Point of order, let the record clearly reflect that Council President Morrow did not raise his hand.
I'm waiting to be recognized.
Come up.
Thank you. Good evening. To Katie's point just now, I want to remind you, I made a request last time that the clerk look into what it would take to hold a referendum on this matter, on the matter of prohibition of AI data centers as a use in all zoning districts in the Borough of Kenilworth. And I wanted to ask if there was any progress on that.
I'm not aware. I'll look into it.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I requested last time that you consider what it would take to hold a referendum on this matter, because what I believe is that this board, this council, is in its heart trying to do the right thing of representing the people of Kenilworth. And one of the things that you want to do when you're in that position is you want to find out what the Borough of Kenilworth people want. And this is a way that you could find that out. And I think that's kind of, it's not a normal situation, and that's why it calls for this abnormal kind of thing. But referendums are very common in municipal government when a very contentious issue brings the entire community together to take a stand for what they've researched, what they've countlessly brought up with this board, with this council. So, okay, so I think the answer is there's no progress. And I guess what I can say then is, the people of Kenilworth really should find a way. It's unfortunate it has to be this way, but they need to find a way to organize a referendum themselves. We're talking about basically holding a vote. And technically, it would be nice to have a collaboration of people who have the experience with this and can make sure it was held with neutrality and everything. But we can do our best, and I do have some ideas for how to actually physically carry it out in a way that's auditable, etc. I'm going to probably talk to people after this meeting, and whoever wants to be involved with that, come talk to me, and maybe Katie, we can talk about it too. Yeah, it's really not great that this is the way it's coming. You understand that, right? All right, thank you for my 2.5 minutes.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brianna. I have a master's in climate policy and science from the University of Columbia Climate School. I'm also an environmental justice advocate for the past 10 years. And I'm incredibly disappointed to see what this town is doing in permitting or allowing for this facility to be coming into our community. I'm a recent homeowner. I'm also incredibly concerned with what this means to our property values. No one wants to live next to a data center that is going to pollute our water, pollute our air, and take up space that would otherwise be nice to look at and could be enjoyed by our nature, animals, etc. I'm incredibly concerned at the rapid nature of this AI data center coming online in our community. It's unprecedented what the United States is doing across the country in approving thousands of data centers in local communities like this one versus mere hundreds in other parts of the world. If we move too fast, that's where things get broken. And in other parts of the world, in other parts of the United States, just in Memphis, there was a data center that came online that is what powers Grok chats. And in needing to create such a large fuel source, they were able to build turbines that are based on fossil fuels that are polluting the air and are likely in violation of the Clean Air Act. I'm concerned what this means for our air quality. The town of Kenilworth is already an overburdened community defined by New Jersey State. And I'm very vehemently against this AI data center and other data centers that are planned to come to our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Before I start, I'd like to request an accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act. I would like extended time. I would have requested it in, prior to the meeting, but I didn't know that this was going to be enforced. So I'd like to participate, and if I could have extended time or a waived time limit, I would appreciate that. I don't want to waste too much of your time, but just asking.
Council?
Yep.
Trying to think what I've never had anybody assert an ADA accommodation request.
We do have a posting on the website for accommodations, and we have to be notified 72 hours in advance, but this is, I don't know the circumstances.
Like I said, I would have requested them. I did see that on the website, but this, I wouldn't have needed it if the meeting was run the way that it was previously.
How much time do you need?
I mean, I just have a 2-page document that I wrote and would like to read.
Usually it's a minute and a half.
That's fair.
Usually it's time and a half.
Fair. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, my name is Victoria. I live on 21st Street here in Kenilworth. And I hate unexpected change and public speaking. I know a lot of people don't like change or speaking in front of an audience, but for me it's quite literally clinical. I took a public speaking class at community college when I was 17 or 18, and I would break out in full-body hives every single time I had to make a speech. The class never helped me improve my confidence in speaking in front of others, but I still felt really thankful I got to take that class. You see, the year prior, I was dealing with a lot of change, some expected, some not so much. Like many other high school juniors, I was preparing for college and graduation, but I was dealing with my parents' active divorce, losing my childhood home, and my adult brother going missing. All of the change was too much for me, and at the time, I decided to take my life. Clearly and thankfully, I didn't succeed. But at the time, I felt like an absolute failure. I didn't understand why or how I was so distraught, while everybody else could just keep on living their lives. Well, as it turns out, I was autistic and didn't know it yet. And for those of you who didn't know this, autism and unexpected change do not mix well. So while I would much rather be laying on my couch with my girlfriend and my many cats, instead, I'm here trying to protect my community from a change that was unexpected to us all. When I was here 2 weeks ago, someone cited concerns regarding the rising autism rates in New Jersey. My knee-jerk reaction was, please do not bring us into this. But I sat with it for a while and decided to share my 2 cents as not only an autistic adult and not only as a person with a special interest in autism and neurodiversity affirming care, but also as a pediatric speech-language pathologist specializing in autism and alternative and augmentative communication. I have not seen any credible evidence that AI data centers cause autism, but based on my professional knowledge, they definitely exacerbate what's already there. We already know why the autism rates are rising. Take me, for example. I grew up in the 90s. In the 90s, girls didn't have autism. Instead of being diagnosed with autism, we were dismissed as dramatic, annoying, bossy, sensitive, rude. This problem didn't only affect girls and women either, it affected minority and marginalized communities as well. You see, the diagnostic criteria for autism was originally created based solely on how it presents in young white boys. So now that we are understanding more about the ways in which autism manifests across a more diverse population, more people are being identified and diagnosed as autistic, which is a positive thing. However, I will note that the severity of symptoms does appear to be increasing, and the reason for that appears to be environmental factors. I'm not talking about vaccines or heavy metals. I'm talking about pollution, noise, sound, smell, air quality, heat. The autistic sensory system is different from the non-autistic sensory system. It tends to be less integrated and more sensitive, meaning we can't filter out background stuff the same way other people can. When our sensory needs are not being met, it gets very difficult for us to function. Speaking, emotional regulation, participation in activities of daily living all become extremely difficult. Maybe you'll be able to tune out the sound of a refrigerator, but you want to know who can't? Autistic folks. I already struggle to live a normal life. I'm autistic. I have an autoimmune disorder that attacks my joints, connective tissue, and skin. I have a neurological condition and a central nervous system disorder that causes tachycardia and fainting. Working full-time is extremely difficult for me, but I do it so that I can continue to have access to the health care I require so that I can be mobile and participate in my life. One of my medications costs over $20,000 per dose without insurance. So what happens when we continue to increase the environmental factors that worsen the severity of my autistic traits? I ask that you please consider what can happen to me and people like me when you're making any and all decisions regarding this project. Mr. Morrow, I understand you believe AI is the future, and I'll be honest with you, I do too. I actually do agree that AI is the future, and I understand that AI will have the capability to solve problems and advance humanity in ways we can't even imagine. But we don't live in the future, Mr. Morrow, we live in the present. And presently, we don't have sufficient procedural safeguards in place to really protect us from companies like CoreWeave. And to be clear, when I say we, I don't just mean locally, I mean worldwide. CoreWeave, who keeps being described as a New Jersey company, is not a small local business. They are a multi-billion-dollar tech company. CoreWeave has contracts with some of the biggest tech companies in the world, Anthropic, Meta, OpenAI, Google. The hardware and infrastructure those companies use to give us ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini wouldn't be possible without CoreWeave. And the work these companies do is truly amazing. The progress they're making and the amount of time they're making it is awe-inspiring. And it's also terrifying, right? We now have technology that's going to be smarter than any one person in the world, and soon it will be smarter than all of us combined. Imagine that. Technology that's smarter than all of humanity. I think that sounds pretty cool, but I also am a sci-fi fan, so it's also scary for a lot of reasons. Mainly, though, because that's a lot of power for one company to hold. Knowledge is power. Money is power. What happens when one company owns all of the knowledge in the universe? As it stands, CoreWeave has set themselves up to be the single most powerful company in the world. We need checks and balances put into place to protect ourselves from the potential uses of that power. We aren't ready for this. It's too soon. What happens when AI advances so much that real people start losing their jobs? CoreWeave gets richer while we all get poorer. What happens when we have unprecedented numbers of people on unemployment? Will we all become more sick, more hungry, more poor, more desperate? What does desperation lead to? It leads to civil unrest. And I don't know about you, but I can't handle all that. So how will we support folks who lose their jobs to AI? How will we all ensure our families have roofs over their heads, food in their bellies, and access to health care? Who's paying for it all? Who's paying for my $20,000 medication that I can't walk without? I'll tell you who I think should. CoreWeave. But they aren't going to do that on their own. They're greedy. It's human nature. I don't blame them. Power corrupts. It's an insidious thing that has the capability of quietly compromising even the most well-intentioned of us. Unfortunately, we see examples of this time and time again. Just look at the recent events involving Ticketmaster. Success rarely happens by accident. It requires careful planning. Now is the time to be proactive and plan. I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a town that contributes to the end of human civilization. I want to live in a town that contributes to the advancement of human civilization. Allowing CoreWeave to continue their rapid and historic growth unchecked could be the end of us all. Is that a risk you're willing to take? Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? I have more than 3 minutes worth of questions. I'll get as far as I can and then I'll stop. My name's Rebecca Davis. I live in Cranford. This community has many legitimate concerns about the data center CoreWeave is planning. I leave these meetings with more questions than answers and with the sense that there is a serious lack of transparency and that we are even being misled. Some of the many questions I have include the following. We've been told that the sound of the data center will be no louder than the hum of a refrigerator, just like some of the data centers that Mayor Karlovich toured with CoreWeave. But was the data center 250 megawatts as the data center CoreWeave plans for Kenilworth, or was it smaller? More importantly, a significant danger data centers pose is infrasound, sound that is below the range of human hearing, but that can travel miles from the source of the sound depending on local conditions, and I expect depending also upon the size and type of generators and other machines on the site. I found clearly more research needs to be done about this because in my research I found many different figures for how far infrasound travels, but 2 to 3 miles are numbers most frequently cited. As a wise person noted last week, at Kenilworth's Planning Board meeting, all of Roselle Park schools, one of Kenilworth schools, and at least one of Cranford schools are within 2 miles of the CoreWeave data center site. Plus many more children and adults, of course, live within this radius. Why is this important? It's important because, according to a recent New York Times article, infrasound causes chronic sleep deprivation, insomnia, headaches, internal ear pressure, and anxiety. Additionally, according to the Environmental and Energy Study Institute, data center neighbors have reported vertigo, nausea, ear pain, and hypertension. Infrasound will interfere with the ability of school children in the area to focus in school. It will affect the health of those living in this area. My own daughter is experiencing many of these issues already due to her health situation, and I'm deeply worried about how much worse this data center could make her health issues and those of everyone in the community. If Kenilworth isn't going to stop this data center from being built, which I still hope it will,
it can still impose restrictions that will protect the local community. So I have questions. Will you measure the infrasound that exists in the environment now? And will you measure it after the data center is built? Most communities have noise limits based upon decibel levels, but this is a place where things are advancing faster than local laws. Can you impose noise limits based on infrasound measurements?
Thank you, ma'am.
too?
Thank you.
And will
for
you
your
do so?
comments. Thank you.
I'll take up one last time.
Mr. Thilly, you cannot speak again. I'm sorry. You can only speak one time. Sorry. You cannot speak. You cannot speak. I'd like the meeting to come to order. You cannot speak.
It's real brief, I promise. I'll be respectful of the meeting out of your way, I promise. Appreciate it. The ordinance, I just want to, it's about my question. 2024-15 ordinance does not say anything about the CoreWeave AI data center, the one that you said was shared with the other towns. It mentions nothing about the CoreWeave data center, so are we saying that Crandallworth did not notify?
According to, in addition to that ordinance, the redevelopment plan was attached, and there were 12 uses in that plan, and one of them was a data center.
Okay, but it didn't say CoreWeave, but it did say data
It
center.
did not say CoreWeave.
Okay, it just said data center in general. So that's his motion notice was given, right? Okay. And then my final statement is, these guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
But the problem is that
Thank you,
our
sir.
government...
Philly, you'll have to, thank you.
No, we need a government system that works.
I'm going to call the meeting to order, please.
Don't be afraid, speak up. This is really gonna hurt us.
Hi, Mayor. Hey, I'm still really stuck on the fact you talked about it's not going to be any louder than a refrigerator. My refrigerator doesn't hum. If yours hums, I think it's broken, which means this is going to be broken. So a few facts I would like from you is, what is the name of the data center that you visited in New York State?
CoreWeave.
CoreWeave? Okay. What town was it located in?
Orangeburg.
Orangeburg? Okay. What megawatt was it?
I don't have that answer.
You want to visit a site and you don't have the answer?
I don't have it
and you're gonna
off the
tell
top of
us?
my head. I don't.
Oh, off the top of your head?
I
So
don't.
when can I find out? When can you give me that answer? Next meeting, can you have that answer?
I can.
All right. CoreWeave, Orangeburg. You don't know the megawatts, but you said you heard birds chirping. Can you tell me, was it operational? Was it really
No,
running?
we're not going to have a dialogue back and forth, so if
I
you
want to
can
know,
ask
was it
questions.
running? Was it running?
Yes, it was.
It was operational.
Yes. Fully.
Okay. Orangeburg, what was it, New York? Did you go to any other ones?
I did.
Where else did you go?
I went to Parsippany.
Parsippany?
No, Piscataway.
Piscataway? What was the name? It was a CoreWeave one too?
It was not CoreWeave.
What was that?
Digital Realty.
What was it?
Digital Realty.
So, is there any opportunities for you to go with, any of us from the public to go visit these sites with these companies?
That would be up to the company, not me.
Okay. But you said the one coming in Kenilworth is what, 250 megawatt? Yes. That's what they're saying? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I just wanted to make it public knowledge. I just Googled, and it said that the data center in Orangeburg, New York was 20 megawatts. Thank you.
Hello. Could you start my clock, please? Thank you. My name is Shamar White. I work with the New Jersey Environmental Justice Alliance. I just want to say, you visited a data center in Piscataway. I know because I work with them. None of them are AI data centers, so comparing that to this isn't comparable. Secondly, I've worked with the data center, the other hyperscale data center in New Jersey, which is in Vineland. That's more than megawatts than this one, of course, but same process, same problems, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything your constituents have said here tonight is true. I do not know why you are ignoring them the way you are doing, but you should listen to them. This will bring not only harm to Kenilworth, but regional harm. You have one in the southern New Jersey, south of New Jersey, which will cause greenhouse gases who knows where. I'm an environmental commissioner in Keyport. We talk about that there. You need to start listening to your constituents. I didn't want to say anything tonight because I firmly believe in letting community talk and letting me take a step back, but this is utterly ridiculous. But listen to your community members, please.
I'm ready. Starting off, I would ask for confirmation, but I'm probably not going to get it. Mayor, on May 5th, she stated it's a continuation of messages between me and her on her mayoral account. The company hired for noise is Ascentech. I have answered your question several times. I know this information doesn't make your videos juicy. If you want these answers, you can watch the council meeting, but it actually spread the truth and facts. My issue with this is we contacted Ascentech, and they did not have recollection of it. Maybe there was a non-disclosure, they couldn't speak of it, but it just seemed concerning. Last time I asked Ms. Giordano Paserno about the Orchard Brook Stream Capacity Restoration Project, and she stated that they did not win that bid, correct? Oh, you're not going to answer. So I found the railway ordinance, and I found everything that blatantly states, and I read it at the planning meeting, that an elected official blatantly lied on record about winning a bid in another town. I'm not exactly sure why that would be. I didn't want to assume a conclusion, but when you approve a massive upstream development that may possibly cause a lot of infrastructure strain on a downstream development, you run into some issues of what is causing the downstream infrastructure strain, and it could possibly be the 1.8 billion, 400,000 square foot AI data center coming from that goes into the same water basin. Also, it is taxpayer funded, I found out, so I hope all of you are aware of that. Mr. Morrow, we've had our back and forth a little bit. You are the senior vice president of Verisk Analytics, and you are kind of in charge of the commercial lines. I did some research about ISO data, and I found out that Verisk actually started as ISO Data, is a nonprofit, and then Verisk became a subsidiary of ISO. But now it kind of flipped, and Verisk is the main guy, ISO is a subsidiary so that they commercialize their data and sell it to the public. And as of 2026, Verisk completely owns ISO data. The issue I'm having is ISO data is kind of like the gold national standard for risk assessment. So maybe CoreWeave doesn't pay Verisk, and this is just assumption off my research, but maybe a third-party insurer would be purchasing said data, or the scarier. CoreWeave is doing captive insurance, where they're kind of insuring themselves through risk assessment, and let's say they have to surpass ISO due to massive insurance gaps and nobody wanting to cover it because of the insane risk. Then we have a company that had to bypass every national standard of insurance risk because it was such a big risk that nobody wants to take it on. I know I have 5 seconds, but I'm going to keep going. And when I say all this, I say this to say that I'm 23 years old, right? You guys have all lived your life.
Call the meeting to order.
You're looking at a 5 to 10 year contract, man, and the issue that I'm looking at is maybe 50 years. So when you make a decision, right? When you make a decision like this, and you have a 23-year-old in front of you, put me in cuffs, please. I already got out of court this morning. So when I mentioned this to mention the massive, massive issue of looking at, okay, thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I said thank you.
Okay.
Unbelievably pathetic. Unbelievably pathetic. No name, no address. You're not getting that from me. When members of the public do that, that's a courtesy.
courtesy that you don't have for any of these people. I want to say the lawyer, through the chair of the lawyer, he is full of shit. Absolute shit. Decorum is for you guys. It's for you guys. Please don't interrupt me. Excuse me, I'm talking, okay? And you, Councilman Scorsese, whatever, you've been on the phone the whole time. I will be putting... Shut up. Don't interrupt me. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
I'd like a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Stop my time!
Motion to adjourn.
All you have to do is shut up!